Okay, this is the setup for AutoCAD for our 2.3 and 2.4. We're going to work on setting up our layers and just showing you the basics that you need to know for AutoCAD. So the first thing that you need to be aware of is this is called the ribbon across the top. Okay, so here's the ribbon. It has a whole bunch of different tools and toolbars and things like that. And then you also need to be aware of this on the bottom. Okay, this has a lot of different settings, some of which we're going to talk about and are really important, some of which are not important at the time. First thing I want you to do is click on these three lines right here, and I want to make sure that you have coordinates turned on. Model space should be turned on. I have grid and snap turned off. Dynamic input needs to be turned on. Ortho mode, this one we'll talk about quite a bit, should be checked. 2D object snap should be checked. Some of these other ones not so important. Units should be checked. Okay, and then that's about it. Okay, the next thing that I want you to do is I want you to go here to Object Snap, and I want you to go to Object Snap Settings. Please make sure you have the following checked: endpoint, midpoint, center, quadrant, intersection, extension, and tangent. All the rest can remain unchecked. Okay. The other thing is, even though you might have those things checked, it may not be on. You need to make sure that Object Snap is on. So when I click here, or when I hold my mouse here, you can also see that the shortcut for OSnap or Object Snap is F3. So if I hit F3, notice my command bar here says I'm hitting F3. It's turning it on and off. You want OSnap on. By the way, if your command bar is down here and it's tiny like this, you can grab it by these dots right here and drag it to the bottom, and you can make it larger. You want to pay attention to your command bar. All right. The other thing that we're going to talk about is ortho. That's this guy. You can either turn it on or off. All ortho does is it draws a perfectly horizontal or vertical line when it's on. The shortcut is F8. So when I hit the F8 button, now I can draw my lines at all sorts of different angles. If I hit F8 again, now I can only draw a perfectly horizontal or vertical line. Right now, I should say you should turn it on, but this is something you turn on and off often. Okay. The other thing is the coordinates. These are the coordinates. These are X, Y coordinates, kind of like when you graph a line in your algebra class. This is the X coordinate where my cursor is. This is the Y coordinate. This is the Z. You don't worry about the Z until you get to 3D down the road. Okay. The grid is on right now. I don't like the grid on. The shortcut to turn the grid off is F7. So there's the grid. I like my screen to be nice and white or black and easy to see. The grid kind of clutters that up, if you ask me. So I turn the grid off. Again, that's F7. Okay. First thing we need to do is we need to set up our layers. Right now we only have a 0 layer. So I'm going to go ahead and go to Layer Properties and click on Layer Properties. This brings up my layer properties box. Again, I only have the 0 layer. First thing we're going to do is we're going to change our 0 layer to cyan right here. We're only going to use the colors down here. So I'm going to change my 0 layer to cyan, click OK. I'm also going to set my 0 layer not to print or not to plot. AutoCAD calls it plot. The reason why I changed this to cyan, so if you see any lines that are this color, you know, hey, that's on the wrong layer. Okay? I'm going to go ahead and create a new layer. And my first layer is going to be called Object. I'm going to click on New Layer again. My next layer is going to be called Hidden. My next layer is going to be called Centerline. My next layer is going to be called Construction. And my final layer is going to be called Dimension. Okay? Hidden, I want to be green. Centerline, I want to be red. Construction, I want to be yellow. Dimension, I want to be blue. Object, I want to be black or white in my case. Okay, so those are the colors that I want these to be. Hidden is not a continuous line. Center is not a continuous line. These three are continuous lines. So how do I change line type? I click on continuous. I go to load, and I need to load the hidden line. Click OK. Click on hidden, click OK. Now my hidden green line is hidden. Red is not my center line is not a continuous line. I click on continuous, I click on load, I go find center. It's in alphabetical order. Center, long dash, short dash, long dash. Click OK, put it on center. Click OK. Now my hidden line is going to be a hidden line. My center line is going to be a center line. All the rest of these are going to be just regular lines. Line weight. The only one I want to change is my object line. I want it thicker than the rest, like it's a 0.7 pencil. Oop, I hit the wrong thing. I got to click on default right here under line weight, and I got to change this to 0.7 millimeters. Click OK. Okay, all the rest of that changes. Other than that, I want all of these to be able to print except for construction and zero. So construction layer and zero layer should not print. They have the little red mark with the slash going through it. Other than that, that is done. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and X out of that. And really all that means is when I draw a line, that is on the zero layer. Okay, if I change my layer and now I draw another line, this one is on the center line layer. You can see long dash, short dash, long dash. If I want to change this layer, for example, I want to change this to a hidden layer, I can select it and change it. Or if I want to change both of those to the object layer, I can change both of those to the object layer. The last thing I'll say about layers is be careful. This turns them on and off, the light bulb. This will lock them and this will freeze them. You don't really want to mess with lock or freeze. Okay? And you also, if something's not showing up, maybe you have a layer turned off. Okay? Other than that, that is pretty much setting it up. And now we're going to go ahead and get started on our multi-view drawings.